This is Producing Music Podcast with Mark Dollar and Cooper Anderson.
We are live. We are
Producing
live.
Music Podcast, people. How you doing? My name is Mark Dollar. This is the ever so amazing Cooper Anderson.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
He saved my life a few times, and he's my dude, okay? So anybody got a problem with Cooper?
You're screwed.
You're screwed. All right, Producing Music Podcast. Check us out on Twitch, Platinum Record Mixing. You could also check out Cooper at cooperanderson.net. You could check me out at thisisaudio.co and also thisisaudio.co/God River Audio. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on your TV right now.
I think next week we might actually try going live on Facebook. So let us know on the Facebook comments if that's something you want to see.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of people checking us out on Facebook since we started our page on there. And, we would like to hear about what you guys want to hear from us. So, yeah, hit us up on the Facebook page. Don't be a stranger. And we will make sure that we are speedy in replying to you.
And now, dun, 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 dun. New Music Friday.
New Music Friday. All right.
So this week, the theme for New Music Friday was Juneteenth. So it's, I think the whole thing was like black artists.
It's pretty much all black artists on this one this time around.
Yep. And I thought that was interesting because it was like, it was the standard like Lil Baby and Da Baby, of course, because, they're like the big money makers right now. But there's a lot of records that otherwise probably wouldn't have seen the light of day.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of great eclectic songs on this. From the start of the playlist, I just was enjoying it right from the start. I added a lot of songs from this week's playlist for sure. There is a few notables for me. Alicia Keys put out a new song. Her put out a new song, or ATR, whichever you want to go about, Anderson .Paak, Lockdown. I thought that was a really cool record. I loved the new J. Cole record, Snow on the Bluff. Have you ever seen that movie?
Snow on the Bluff? No.
Yeah, Snow on the Bluff is actually a movie, and it's a wild movie to watch. It's about, a guy who happens to film all of the disparities happening in his neighborhood from gang violence that he is also self-inflicting as well. He realizes throughout all of it that he just needs to get out. And it looks pretty real. It's a pretty real movie. It actually, I had to think about it. And for myself, I was like, wow, is this like really happening? But I've seen things like that has happened before. And so I thought it was really cool that he kind of wrote a song about it. Wale got new music. Black Eyed Peas, Trippie Redd, Keegan Bryant, Remy, Cruel Santino, and Octavian. I mean, yeah, there's just a ton of really cool songs in this playlist this week.
Yeah, definitely.
I loved Lockdown by Anderson .Paak. That was really cool. That was just a really cool sounding record. I love this playlist because it showed a lot of different diversity in the black community in terms of sound, which in my new music it's totally cool, which in my New Music Friday wrap up, I am in a place somewhere. Do we really need trap music in the same light that we do, as much as we need the diversity of black music to really shine. You know, I felt the diversity. There was all different types of black artists on this playlist, but it was different types of sounds, and that's what I loved about it, you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
every song had a very unique standpoint to it, and so for me, I was thoroughly satisfied with this playlist. But when it gets to the idea, I'm sorry, but when it gets to the idea of trap, you know, there are still, I said it last week, and where you're dodging potholes, and there's still a lot of that. So my New Music Friday kind of, focuses on the sound of trap. Are we done with it? Is it played out? I love that it's given the idea of technology to our youth and to our community. So for that, I love that, because it creates expression where expression is otherwise not created or curated. But for me, I'm finding that we need solidarity from our artists. And from that standpoint, I look to some of the more unique artists to be more about spreading positive change in our communities, as well as just trying to put out really good music for everybody to feel. So, you know, when I listen to some of these songs, these trap songs, it's like, you know, I understand the culture of it, because there's a lot of people that are using YouTube, a lot of rappers that are using YouTube to download these songs and stuff like that, which is totally cool, but there's a disconnect, because you're just rapping over a beat, whereas some people are actually putting forth great concepts to songs. So again, it comes down to how much validity are we going to give some of this trap market that's happening, because everybody can write songs about popping pussy and drinking lean and shit like that. But how many times do we want to hear that as a community of musicians and as people before we say enough is enough?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of that has to do with the platform that popularized those particular artists. Like, for instance, there's a lot of TikTok records now, and that's basically the vibe on TikTok is like a 15-second trap beat with like some naughty words in it, so that,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can do
you're
dumb
right.
stuff to it. So, and that's really, really a big moneymaker. I mean, a lot of labels are like pushing stuff. The TikTok strategy, for new artists is like kind of where it's at right now.
You know, again, for me, going back to, trap, is that I want there to be more for it. I want there to be a bigger stage for it. But I also feel like, you know, it's the music that, again, like back in our day when we were growing up, we had to like actually make the music happen. Now the kids are just going on YouTube, typing in Drake or Future style beat and finding playlists of songs that are just like beat after beat after beat, and then using YouTube to MP3 to make it work. First of all, it negates all the production that they could have on a song when they just work with the producer. Like, you could literally say to that producer, yo, change this sound here. You already have something more unique that's a little bit more for you, but there's no culture in that. There's no culture in the production. And so for me, it's just boring.
Well,
Like,
that's
I
like,
hear it.
that's like people who are doing that. They're not really like pro, there's just like a hobby, basically. That's like practice. Like, I actually condone that. I think that's a good way to get started. Yeah, it's not great, obviously, because it's an unoriginal industry beat, but like, and especially if it's like a Drake beat or whatever, the obvious downside is whoever hears this record is going to compare this artist to Drake. And
Yeah,
usually they're not going to be as good as Drake.
yeah.
So
Which,
that's shooting
again,
yourself in the foot right off the bat.
Exactly. I just think that they hear these styles of songs and they're like, you know what? Yeah, this is cool. I personally think, you know, um, I just think that there needs to be a little bit more culture towards the producers and not just the beat makers in hip hop and trap, but just more so the idea of, yo, let's get together, let's collaborate, let's make records. Like there are so many people in this position, so many producers that are looking for artists to work for. I think the idea in that industry is that you're trying to work with the top artists at all times, when really you just need to work with whatever mid-tier artist or local artist even that you feel is just going to be hot, or at least serves a purpose for the type of sound that you're going for. So just in the idea of collaboration alone, we have an industry that's kind of just mistargeted and not really hitting the scape of the best styles of production. I mean, I love Mike Dean as a producer. He's actually a good friend of mine. He's an amazing producer, and he always makes trap records sound way more unique than what most people do. But I think it's just the art that he's working with the artist and being able to feel out what's hot to them, as opposed to, okay, here's a beat. Now, I'm pretty sure that still happens, and I'm not saying that that's not like a valid style of recording records, but I just think we just need to educate, these young artists and young producers a little bit more, about, how production can work for them, as opposed to just, again, just ripping records.
Absolutely. I mean, that's also, I'm totally with that, but it's also very idealistic too, because that doesn't address like the economic part of it too. You know what I mean? Like Mike Dean, yeah, he has tons of experience. That's why he's so good at what he does. But he can also command, prices so he can make a living from it because he has a track record like that. So if you're just starting, with an artist who's just starting, yeah, ideally you would want to be paired up together so you can build together. But I mean, everybody's got to pay the bills too. So that's, I think, why it doesn't always line up. And like you said, the producers are always trying to work with like the top tier artists, and it, kind of trickles down from there. But the artists are, the same thing, trying to work with the top tier producers. And, I don't know. They just, everybody, a lot of times you see people think they're in a higher position or like level of the game than they are.
Well, there are some truths to that. I do believe that, when you get to a certain tier of either production or artistry, you're going to be looking to work with the producers who are on par with you, just because you can at least withstand matters of business and culture through your music. With that being said, I just feel like there needs to be more collaboration on the lower levels, for sure. There needs to be more producers reaching out to some of these, artists, and there needs to be more artists reaching out to these producers. I do think that, yeah, we can all, we all need to eat 100%, but we also need to build that community so that we can also keep eating in these, in hip hop and stuff like that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and then globally you have kind of the issue of like just
I like that zoom in.
Yeah, zooming in a little, get my angle on. Globally, it's like new music streaming is down, catalog streaming is up, and this is a time when streaming in general is through the roof because there's no concerts.
Yeah.
So the demand is down, so that's going to make it like even less attractive. Unless it is just purely for fun. Like if people are trying to do this like as a job or a career, the stakes just got a lot higher, basically.
Yeah, you are right about that. All right. So for me, I like to, talk about some of the worst mixes on the playlists. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spare E40 for being the worst mixed song on this playlist. Because I have a new segment that I want to start. And it's called Who the Fuck Recorded This? And let's just start right off the bat. Another trap song that's got me up, riled up to talk about or focus about trap music in this, particular episode, for at least my opinions of the playlist. Mm-hmm. But Blueface, First Mission. The vocals are fucking out of time. Really bad. Like, it's not even fucking funny. It's man. like, who would allow a vocal that out of time to go that far? And on top of this, like, I just don't understand, like, who's in the studio sitting there saying, yo, this shit sounds hot, because it wasn't hot. Yeah. I'm almost mad at whoever put this shit on the playlist because they thought it was hot. Again, like, if it's a TikTok record or a SoundCloud record, that's okay. But, yo, that shit is trash. What is it doing amidst all of these amazing artists? I don't care. I think this is another one of those, like, gang rappers too, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, for me, I'm not about that shit. So it's like, I just can't stand for that. It's like, okay, what we got a dude that's just like, all right, let's just do a record, and it just blew up. Yeah, that's just trash. I'm sorry. Another one, who the fuck recorded this? Number 2 is Juke Ross. I don't even know the song, but I listened to it, and again, it comes down to timing. We need to be thinking about timing, people. They recorded a full drum set, and the timing's all out of whack from the vocal performance. Like, again, who allowed that to happen? Why would you ever allow that to happen? Another who the fuck recorded this is a song called Every Time by an artist called Rollo. Again, it has to be another one of those SoundCloud, TikTok songs, whatever the case is. Terrible. Like, I almost kind of liked it because it's such a unique sounding vocal, but it's also a very terrible vocal. Like, you could tell that the dude was trying to sing his melodies, but was also, like, screaming, like, to the top of his lungs. And I'm just like, wow, like, I like the character. I wish he, like, figured it out a little bit better. But again, I don't know if I could have let that vocal fly that far. I don't know. I'm just letting you know, like, that's just in my preference. Maybe I just don't understand how motherfuckers want to be recorded nowadays. Maybe I won't. But with that being said, that shit was terrible. But those are my who the fuck recorded this songs for the week. E40 comes in as the worst mixed with Gimme 6. Again, like, I don't know if he recorded this himself or mixed this himself or let some, like, younger experienced engineer have at this, but it sounded terrible. Like, and we all know E40 to have that, like, crunk, down south sound. And I always loved his records, but I was excited to see that name. But when I heard the song, I was just like, whoa, this is something else. So. But that's my New Music Friday wrap up. Again, it's for, focusing on the trap music. It's like, again, just because you got a guitar and a few 808s and you got a Scarlett 2i2 recording with MacBook Air or some shit, you know, like, again, it's cool that we could be able to record. I'm not harping on the technology, but we got to be thinking a little bit different out here. You got to think there's no, like, for every pop song and where it's oversaturated, there's got to be like 6 million more trap songs that are just like out there waiting to be, you know, recorded and stuff like that. So for me, it's like, let's focus on how we can make trap sound better. Period.
Yeah,
The standard of the quality. And I would like to tell a story. I actually have, well, I don't know if I would call him a great friend, but I know this rapper who was really good, you know, got great bars and everything. I started mixing for him. And basically, he checked all of his references on a 5.1 surround system. Like, I also had another client who would check their mixes on a broken, you know, car radio with busted speakers and stuff like that. Or they would check it on their phone or whatever the case is. Like, you do what you can to make a song sound as best as it possibly can. But we also have to think about, if we're making songs like that, if we're making trap music is big, it's marketable, and it's fun. We have to be thinking about our fans as not just ourselves. We can't just satisfy our own ears just because you decided to learn how to listen to music on a 5.1 surround system or some busted speakers. And trust me, I understand the hustle 100%. Yo, I know dudes that were listening, checking my mixes on like mono, like just one, like my dude had one Genelec 8020, like straight up. The other one was broken in the corner somewhere. And they also did the vocal on one of those, you know, Shure Dynamic mics. I forget what it's called. The shotgun, the handheld dynamic mic. But
yeah,
again,
the green one, the Bullet.
Yeah, the Bullet. Dude did a vocal on the Bullet, and I was just like, all right,
City.
Cool, Crunch City, yo. And they expected it to sound like, you know, it was Drake or some Wale type shit. So again, like, you know, for me, we have to find ways to step up the quality of the game. It's just that simple. And my artists are the same way too. The artists are not really trying to find producers. Like, I meet trap artists all the time. They're not trying to look for a producer to help them with their sound. They got YouTube. They're going to go on YouTube. They'd rather spend hours on YouTube listening to all the different styles of beats and stuff and figuring out that versus actually looking for a producer who can actually attribute to making a great sounding record. And that for me is not interesting. It's just not interesting. Like, I come from a generation in where we wanted things to sound as in context as the words that we were singing. So I don't know. I just need more, you know, collaboration in the hip hop community, and I also need more, you know, just again more education about production, more education about what makes a great mix in general, not just in hip hop, but in general. You know, like I was actually checking out some dudes that were doing a tutorial and stuff, and I'm hearing these mixes and I'm like, wow, like these actually aren't great mixes at all. Like, they were just crunchy. They sounded weird, and I get it. Everybody has a formula for how to produce trap because it's again easy, but that doesn't make it a hot production. So you always have to figure out, you know, what can make your, you know, production hot. If you're gonna use an acoustic guitar sample, how are you sampling it? You know, how are you going to degrade the sample to sound more old school, or how are you going to make the sample sound more modern? Are you going to add some like percussive things, or maybe some more reverb or delay or something like that? If you have that sample, again, like I always think about this, how does your drum sound in accordance to that sample? Is it supporting the sample? Is it giving the sample some support? It is it pushing back the sample? What is it doing? How is it working with the drums? Do you have the right drums to support that sample? Do you have the right drums to support the vocal? Do you have the right bass? Do you have the right type of low end? People like to talk about getting low end right when just off of your sample selection alone, you're selecting your low end. You selected it. So have you selected the right type of low end for the song? Okay, we could talk about, the different types of low end. We could have punchy low end. We could have sustaining low end. Those are kind of the two biggest kind of ideas of low end. When you hear some really good mixes, it's almost like the low end just comes as like this block that just lives under your speakers, that is just like this stream. It just kind of goes like this in the stream. It's something I would call kind of more so like a sustaining low end, whereas, a punchy low end is just short, transient, but very low sounding instruments that could be, more of a punchy or low end. So you get the chance to choose what type of low end you have. And you can have a different type of low end in 808 and also point track kick drum. There's so many combinations that you can do to combine the low end alone based on those two instruments. So I think it's important for everyone just to figure out what types of instruments that you're doing, so you can figure out how the low end works, and how it works in your song altogether. But I know Cooper didn't hear any of this, but it's all good. But yeah, that's my New Music Friday wrap up. There were a few really good songs on here: Incognita, Hallucinogen, Black Noise, Bryn Joy, Count Me In, American Spirit Blues, Melanin, by Ebenezer, Houston Kendrick, Into the Wicked, Ginger Me by Remy. I liked the Trippie Redd song. That was kind of like that boy band song from the other week. But yeah, that's my New Music Friday wrap up. So what was yours, Cooper?
I had a few that I liked. I mostly had shout outs. I got to shout out the Shy Carter record because I think our friend Carlo worked on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Looking at the credits right now, actually. Yep. Written by Carlo Colasaco. I guess that's
Colasaco. I just finished writing a song with Colasaco a few weeks ago. Colasaco.
I never knew what his last name was until right now.
Colasaco, yeah, something like that. But yeah, I love Carlo. He was also in this band in Raincoat. Well, technically, yeah, I think he was in. I don't know. They've changed their name so many times.
Yeah,
but
changed the name and lineup, and
yeah,
now they're just live streaming on IGTV.
Yeah, but shout out to Eric Paquette, Phil Silverberg. Those guys are also, just really awesome producers and writers.
Super
talented dudes. I love writing with them. I don't know why they call me for writing, but I appreciate their friendship and their love.
Hell yeah.
Word.
Yeah, so Shy Carter, I'm just going to read down the other ones that I added. Because I wasn't really listening for like mixes. I was more looking at like, just like what I like. I mean, that's kind of what I look for. So I have Granddad by NSG, Friends by Little Halima, Take Me Away by Aaron Jones, Tired by Shirazi, Until I Say So by Chantel May and Westside Gun. Forever by Starchild and New Romantic. Use You by Ewa and Mi Niña by Ozuna. I think in general, a lot of the songs I liked had more of, I'm just not into like trap and stuff. I'll listen to it as references, but personally, I just don't like throw that on my playlist, for when I'm driving or like running or whatever. But I like the more like African and like ethnic stuff, reggaeton, the Spanish, whatever. That's just more about my vibe. So that was, reflected in the playlist. There's one though that was really funny. I want to figure out which one it was. You're gonna love this cover. Forever by Starchild and the New Romantic. And if you look at the cover, he's just like sitting there by a synthesizer from like the 90s, like a rack mount synth.
Oh yeah.
And the track is like super like 90s like computer music sounding. It was cool, kind of cool. And then of course I have to shout out my new song. It's out today. It's called Who's Your Daddy by Carolyn Marie. Yes, and that was specifically written for TikTok. But we went for clean but provocative because, she released it as one of her songs. And she's definitely trying to do more of the pop thing. So she didn't want to like go all like, Doja Cat, Nicki Minaj and, say naughty words and stuff. So we went clean and provocative. And then we had my friend awesome. Ezo, Ezo rapped a verse on it too. So
that's freaking awesome. I love Ezo, man. Shout out to Ezo, man.
Yeah,
he's one of the coolest
super
dudes
talented,
in the world.
Super talented. And he went out like, this song came together so quickly. We came up with the idea Tuesday morning, recorded it Tuesday night. I hit Ezo up about it Tuesday night. He was able to get in on Thursday and record his part, and then we like uploaded it Friday, and now it's a week later and it's out.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I was just like, just don't overthink this stuff. Let's just do it. Put it up, whatever. She has a management company. They had all these ideas, and I'm like, nah, just, you can figure all that out later. The song's only a minute and 40 long, so I'm like, we can totally do a remix if you want to get, they're talking about getting Megan Thee Stallion on there. I'm like, that's going to be like $500,000. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's going to take time, we need this out now. So, so she's promoting it on TikTok and stuff too. It's definitely like written for TikTok with TikTok in mind. Sorry.
Definitely into producing songs, like in the idea of certain songs. There's certain songs you just got to release. Like you can't sit there and try to create some like marketing ploy behind, not every song deserves that 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost feel like you ruin certain songs by blowing it up that hard,
Yeah, totally. And I already have the follow-up ready. I just need 10 minutes to make the beat.
Of course you do.
It's like 4 sounds in the beat. It literally took 10 minutes. But I played it for, I saw our friend Alec Chambers yesterday, and I played it for him. And he's big on TikTok, and he was loving it. That's awesome. Now what they're going to do is get like one of the popular dancers to repost it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. To do like a TikTok dance to it or something like that, right?
Yeah, because Carolyn's a dancer, so it's like her area of expertise. I don't even know. That's all her. I just try to make the records, and that's it. Stick to my niche. But do it, bro. Let's move on. Cool. So on that note, I think we're gonna call it for the week. So check us out next week on producingmusicpodcast.com, featuring God River Audio from thisisaudio.co and Cooper Anderson from cooperanderson.net. Check out our free sample packs at freeproducersamples.com and
$sample pack, yeah.
.com. Did I forget any? We have too many websites. We just got to consolidate this. I don't know. Just check us out.
Well, yeah, just check us out. We got a lot of things going on.
Links are in the bio anyway.
And we're also always available for production and engineering.
Consultations.
Musicianship,
I
we
pretty
got
much
it
live
all.
on Zoom these days, so I can zoom in. We're on the internet.
Yes. So don't ever be afraid to hit us up.
For real. All right. And we are